What's up guys, Sam here. Welcome back to another video. Man, it's my last day in the studio. I'm moving out after 2 years. Yeah, so you guys are gonna have to miss this completely bland tan wall that I know everybody's been a fan of. We got a heck of a variety. Some of these happening almost for sure. Some of these like the sketchiest I've ever seen. I went on the dark corners of Twitter to find some of these, and we'll see if any of them actually pan out. So if you're excited, drop a like down below, support the love in the studio for the past couple years, hit subscribe for more, and let's just go ahead and jump in. In case you haven't watched my old videos on iOS 14, go ahead and check those out because Apple's got some really great stuff in the works. The only UI, as I tweeted out today, that we've seen is this. Like, this is the only confirmed look we really have at what's coming in iOS 14. And there's a million other things that 9to5Mac has discovered in the code that other sources have leaked, but this is all we know so far. Let's start off today at the top of the barrel with a rumor from John Prosser. John is sitting at over 86% accurate over on my website, Apple Track, which is really impressive. You can actually track him and all your favorite sources there. I'll leave a link down below. Sometime within the next year, Apple's Pro applications are going to be making their way to the iPad Pro, which is huge because this is something we've been asking for forever. We're talking Final Cut Pro, the video software I use to edit this video and every video I make, Logic Pro, which I use to record audio. It's one of the biggest music production softwares in the world, and Xcode, how you make apps for watchOS, macOS, tvOS, and every other platform in Apple's ecosystem. That's apparently coming to the iPad as well. John himself says he doesn't know in particular what exactly is happening, but that within the next year, we will be seeing these at some point. So this is huge, and really the one thing in this video I would say you can count on for sure, because John's been right about most things he's talked about in the past. And I feel like there would have to be some limitations here just because a lot of these are designed right now for clicking and having access to huge hard drives and tons of plugins with multiple ports on your device. Like the iPad has one port on it. It's got one port, so I feel like there's gonna be some limitations here, but hey, I hope Apple is doing this, I hope this is true, and I hope we see it in iOS 14. Following that, from 9to5Mac comes another rumor. They continue to dig through this same build of iOS 14 that they have had. It is a build from December of 2019. They found some evidence that Safari is getting some nice upgrades this year. You're no longer gonna have to go to Google Translate or a comparable service because you'll be able to do it on device using the neural chip inside of your phone. So it apparently will be happening all offline, which is really exciting because 9to5Mac suggests that this could also maybe mean Siri will be able to translate things offline. I mean, who knows? Would Siri be gaining some offline functionality as well? It's also going to work in the App Store. So for example, if you were reading a review in a different language, your device could automatically translate it into a language that you were familiar with. And then on the iPad, the Apple Pencil is going to be better supported. I wasn't actually aware this was an issue, but in the past where markup hasn't worked properly, it is going to be really well supported in iPadOS 14. So we got another good iPad upgrade around the corner, and stay tuned because we're hearing some really cool iPadOS leaks a little bit later. Now following that come a couple of leaks straight from the leaked iOS 14 build. This is apparently the same one 9to5Mac has had access to, so take these with a grain of salt because, I feel like we would have heard about some of these already. This Twitter account has been sharing some of their findings as they've been digging through iOS 14, which I know like everybody has access to now. We're gonna call them crab emoji for the sake of simplicity, but there's been a couple of things that caught my eye. Most importantly, which is something I haven't seen anybody talk about, is this icon right here, which is in iOS 14. I asked for the file path. Apparently, if you have the build, you can go here and actually find this icon. So what exactly is it? Well, there's like a lightish purple background, an iPhone right here. I think this is like something in Simulator. It doesn't show a notch. I don't think that part means anything, but it does appear to show an icon changing. Now, we've heard a lot of rumors about iOS 14 and getting widgets, right? And now some people are saying maybe wait till iOS 15 for that. I don't know if they're gonna be in iOS 14, but we've seen so many leaks. We saw Chocobit initially share this image. The verifiers reported about widgets. 9to5Mac has reported widgets are coming. I mean, at this point, it's clear, at least I hope, that Apple's actually working on this. This iOS 14 icon appears to show an icon transforming into something a little bit bigger, which is how it looked on these screenshots right here, how it looked on the iPhone 12 prototype. Perhaps to expand the widget, you would use 3D touch or haptic touch, and then it would blow up and make it into like a block, which is very similar to concepts that have been floating around forever. I mean, this one right here, I don't know how they did it, but it looks really native, it looks really wild, and I think this implementation would actually work really well on the iPhone. Because you know what, Apple? I'm getting a little tired of just my little icons on the home screen. Take it with a grain of salt, but apparently this is real. I reached out to Crab and they said it was real, so I'll leave their Twitter link down below. Following that, we have some video of how an Apple AR bowling game could work. 9to5Mac first revealed a couple of months ago that Apple was working on an augmented reality application in iOS 14. Mac rumors got a hold of some images of a control controller that you would use along with some screenshots of bowling, and now we have a video of what that actually looks like in action, and looks pretty cool. Apparently it would trigger if you were like using this at a certain intersection in Cupertino, so like on the crosswalk, you could like bowl while you're waiting. I know, some pretty innovative stuff here. My brain can barely handle it. But even if this doesn't materialize like this in iOS 14, it's still sort of cool to see Apple's design process here and like how they're prototyping some expanded AR functionality in a future version of iOS. And the third thing that this crustacean shared was this, which is perhaps the most realistic for me of the bunch, and that is a screen time icon being bundled in what appears to be the Apple Watch app. I mean, we have screen time on the iPhone, we have screen time on the Mac. It's apparently coming to tvOS this year, according to the verifier, so I could very easily see it coming to watchOS as well. The watch is probably what people use the least, but it'd still be cool to see a number attached to how much you really use it, because I mean, like a lot of people, I didn't realize how much I used my iPhone until I got hard data about how much I actually use my iPhone, and it was a little scary. Moving on to our next source here, we're looking at Apple Rumors. That is the name of this Twitter account, who has been sharing a ton of information lately, and I haven't seen anybody talk about this account, probably for good reason, because we haven't been able to verify that any of this info is actually credible at all. So I'm putting this disclaimer out here first. Don't come tweeting at me, this didn't happen and my heart is broken now because I wanted these features. Listen, I don't know if any of these are gonna happen, but some of them are interesting, and there was some cool concept work done that got me pretty interested. That and the fact that on multiple occasions, this source actually posted information that Jon Prosser published a little bit later. So Jon Prosser got a pretty good track record. This source had that same info he shared a little bit earlier. Grain of salt here for you. All right. There, we consumed it. All right, first up for the iPad here, apparently multi-user support is coming. Actually, all of these are for iPadOS, and Apple could very easily expand this, as for education-based iPads, they already have multi-user support built in. So the fact that Apple hasn't expanded this yet is like, I feel like this is a little bit less complicated than you guys are making it seem. But hopefully this year we see that. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. So personally, I wouldn't really get much use out of multi-users, but definitely, dude, put me back in grade school and you can bet I want to use mom's iPad every night. Next up, these were shared exclusively by Apple Rumors to gory.me, and they did some concept work, which I think this is what these should be taken as right now, but they are really good ideas, and I hope that they're real. First up here, for split view, Apple could be reworking our brains here. So instead of 2 apps side by side, apparently you could get 3 now, each taking up a third of your display. The screens are big enough, they've got fast processors. I think this is realistic, that if you wanted to sort of triple multitask here, you could have an app on the right, an app in the center, and an app on the left that you could then interact with simultaneously. They're essentially the size of an iPhone anyway, so I mean, a lot of developers have already optimized their apps. I feel like it could literally be Apple flipping a switch, and then all of a sudden you have triple app split view. So I'd love to see this. On the home screen in iPadOS 14, you might be able to use slide over there. I thought this was actually in iPadOS 13, but it's not. The only way to use slide over is inside of an app already, which for me doesn't make a lot of sense, but you might be able to just slide over and then get something that looks like this on your home screen. So you could open an app in sort of a briefer window here rather than launching into something and then seeing it. And fingers crossed for this one. Can I get the finger emoji down? No, not that finger. Yeah, that wasn't funny, dude. Siri gets a macOS-like interface on the iPadOS 14 update so that it doesn't take up your entire display. I hope that if this comes to the iPhone as well. Nobody wants this, dude. Nobody wants Siri to take up your entire screen. And my camera never focuses, dude. I don't know what Panasonic's doing out here with this stuff, but it's like, this is too big. And the last 2 leaks from this account, one really good, one not making me too happy. Let's start with the one that is kind of sad. They say widgets not coming this year, that in iOS 14 widgets will not be present, so unfortunately that might have to wait till iOS 15 or even later. But on the iPadOS update this year, we will be getting multitasking windows. This was leaked for iOS 13, never happened. Seems like Apple could be getting around to it now. Something like this where windows are like detachable and it essentially works like a computer should and does. Next up, I was speaking with my friends over at the verifier today, and they told me a couple of tidbits that they had been hearing or seeing for iOS 14. Now they're sitting around 40% over on Apple Track, so could go either way here. The first is that, as they initially reported a few months back, the iPhone SE and iPhone 6s will be supported on iOS 14, which is good because if you have those devices, you'll be able to get support on iOS for another year, which you weren't expecting because you should have been cut off. So good news if you own one of those devices, but if this pans out, if those devices are supported, I have some fears about, the gravity of the iOS 14 update. Although way back, Mark Gurman told us it would be similar in feature set to iOS 13. And the verifier also told me that Notification Center, at least in the December 2019 build of iOS 14, looks identical to how it is in iOS 13, so no significant UI upgrade for Notification Center. So that's what I'm throwing at you today, some iOS 14 rumors from all across the spectrum, some for sure happening, others in the middle, others we have absolutely no idea. It is a total grab back. If you enjoyed the video regardless, drop a like down below. Just seriously help me and the channel out, hit subscribe for more, and say goodbye to the studio. This is it for now. Sam signing off in iUpdate 2.0. Hopefully big things are coming next. All right, I'll see you guys very soon in my next video.